Keith Flaugh is the president and co-founder of Florida Citizens Alliance and also my boss. In 4 short years, Florida Citizens Alliance has become a respected advocate for K-12 education reform in Florida based on the fundamental values and principles of liberty, which Keith pursues with unrelenting passion. This is so true. Please welcome Keith Flaugh.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Senator Baxley, you've been a great friend, a super champion for faith-based values and for reforming education, and we greatly appreciate what you do. Before I get into my presentation, I also want to introduce Karen Schoen. Karen, if you'd stand up. Florida Citizens Alliance is invested in a podcast, a weekly podcast show on America Out Loud, and Karen hosts that. She'll be here today, so if you get a chance to talk to her for details on that, we would appreciate it. Florida Citizens Alliance spends a lot of energy, as you've heard, on making lives better for our kids. I'm going to talk to you today about free market and parental choice, and specifically the 5 or 6 options that we have. They're called scholarships in Florida. Some of you may know them as vouchers. I'll start with a premise. You may or may not agree, but I think most of you will. Public education in Florida is a function of the 67 district monopolies that we have, called school districts, and they're heavily influenced by the unions and by the progressives. In your folder, and each of you got one of these, if not, there's some on the back desk, you'll see the specific information about your county, Marion County, but on average, across the 67 counties in Florida, 50% of our Florida kids cannot read and do math at grade level on national tests. Yet we're graduating between 85 and, in my county, 92% of our kids. They're graded on the curve. I'm older than many of you in the room, but when I went to school, if you got below a 75 on a test, you got an F. Today, 62% are better on the 8 factors that are going to the formula for grading our schools. 62% or better is an A. 62% or better is an A. The difference between a C and a D is 39%. In Marion County, only 37% of your kids can read at grade level, and only 42% of your kids can do math at grade level, and yet you're a C school system. How does that work? Civil rights is the fundamental issue of our day. Education is the civil rights issue of our day. Today I'm going to talk to you specifically about these opportunities called scholarships. I'm going to major on the Hope Scholarship you heard from the Chancellor, and it's been mentioned several times, but I really want to get into some detail. But to give you the overall picture of the different scholarships, we have 6. 2 of them are very close to each other in terms of the kids that are allowed to benefit from those. It's called the Tax Credit Scholarship and the Recent Family Empowerment Scholarship, and they are for low-income families. The qualification for each of those is very similar. The funding mechanism is a little bit different, but we have over 100,000 kids now that are benefiting from the tax credit scholarship. I always like to tell the story. In 2018, in our gubernatorial election, how many of you remember what the margin of victory was for DeSantis? 33,000 votes. Gillum came out early in the campaign and said he was going to get rid of all of the scholarship programs in Florida because it was unfair to those kids in government schools. Traditionally, only 7% of black moms vote Republican. In that election, it was over 18% because of the tax credit scholarship. So that's the power. The Gardner Scholarship, just very quickly, is for disabled students, as is the McKay Scholarship. They're slightly different qualifications. And we also have a reading scholarship in Florida. It's for grades 3 through 5, and if you have a child that's not reading at grade level on national tests, then you can just simply apply for and get a $500 credit card for tutoring and buy textbooks for your kids. We had a meeting with Commissioner Corcoran. Chancellor mentioned that we met with him back in July, and Chancellor mentioned it in his speech. They're looking seriously at moving that reading scholarship down to kindergarten and up, because it really is important. If the child's not reading at grade level by grade 3, you've probably lost them for the duration. I want to major on the Hope Scholarship, so if you go to the next slide. The Hope Scholarship was actually written by somebody you've heard mentioned numerous times here today. Speaker Corcoran, when he was Speaker of the House, personally wrote the Hope Scholarship. It was labeled House Bill 1. It was an anti-bullying bill, at least that's how it was billed. And it was House Bill 1, so it was certainly one of his top priorities. It did 3 major things. It changed the definition of the legal definition of bullying to include threat, intimidation, and harassment. The second thing it did was it changed those that could participate in the act of bullying, if I can say it that way. It changed the definition to include anyone on school property or on a school-sponsored event. That includes teachers. That includes administrators. That includes your lunchroom managers. That includes your bus drivers. So any one of those people now could be involved in a bullying incident of a child and qualify for the Hope Scholarship. The third thing, and we often hear when I make this presentation, we often hear from parents how this is too good to be true. The third thing that scholarship did was it took the total aspect of the victim and put them in charge. So if you're a parent, and I'm picking my words very carefully, if you're a parent and you believe that your child is being intimidated or threatened or harassed, in addition to all of the other qualifications for legal qualifications for bullying, all you have to do is go to the state website, print out a simple one-page notification form, take that form to your principal, sign that form in front of your principal, check the right box. It's just literally check the box. And the day you sign that form, you're eligible for up to an $8,000 scholarship to send your child to a private school of their choice. I often hear that's too good to be true because so many of our parents have been bullied themselves by the bureaucracy in the system. So if you go to the next slide, I want to give you some examples. It's actually 2 slides forward. So let's talk about it. You and I talk about bullying. When I talk to parents about bullying, they're thinking about the division of 2 kids fighting, the bullying that goes on, which is there were 53,000 cases of bullying in Florida last year. 53,000. And that doesn't count what I'm about to speak to. So if you're a parent, trying to believe your child is being intimidated because the teacher is teaching evolution as a fact, instead of a theory. All you have to do is check the box and send your child to a private school. Think about that. Religious indoctrination. If you've got a teacher who's teaching Islam and denigrating Christianity, if you've got a teacher that's teaching the sex ed that you believe is inappropriate for your child, That's intimidation. That's threat to your child. All you got to do is print out the form and check the box. There are lots of other examples. If you've got a teacher who's teaching socialism is the only way forward and denigrating our free market system, that's intimidation. That's threatening your child's future. It's that simple, folks. And believe it or not, the school districts are hiding this. In 2000, in the last 2 years since this program has been in place, I told you there were 53,000 just last year cases of bullying. There were only 419 scholarships awarded because the school systems are hiding this. So one of our major missions is to promote an awareness program. Dominique mentioned a new website that we've created called Liberty Scholar. If you'll go to that slide. We major on that slide in several things. She mentioned really encouraging parents to get their kids out of government schools and homeschool their kids. But we also go into great detail on all of the scholarships, and particularly the Hope Scholarship. We haven't, if you want to write this down, and we've got the material in the back, there's some, these postcards that you're welcome to pick up and share, particularly with churches. I would encourage you to do that. We have a Hope hotline. It's 1-833-FL4, the number 4, kids. 1-833-FL4, kids. You call that hotline, it'll take you to our website with frequently asked questions in both English and Spanish. And a lot of other detail. It gives you a lot of reference material that you can refer to, and it also lets you connect to one of us if you need help fighting the bureaucracy in your school system. Next slide, please. We're in a David and Goliath fight for our kids. For at least 2 generations, we've turned our education system over to the progressive left. There's a fellow by the name of Vladimir Lenin, Karen is often quotes this, who said, give me your children for 4 years, and the seeds I've sown will never be uprooted. We've given our kids to the progressive left for 2 generations. The teachers coming out of the schools, teaching our kids, have been indoctrinated into communism, socialism at the very least. So we're in a David and Goliath fight. For those of you listening online, please engage, get involved. We work very hard to develop watchdog teams across the state. We have some of our watchdog leaders here. So reach out to us. And we would love to get you involved. And I'll close with this, if you go to the last slide. If not now, when? And if not you, who? So thank you for your time. We'll be here obviously all day. We were delighted to put this forum on. I want to thank Ed Wilson and the It's Your Tea Party for being the co-hosts of this. Ed's put a lot of energy in it as his team, and we're delighted to be able to present this locally and live stream it to those that are listening online. So thank you, and have a great rest of the day.